So, I heard about this little girl. She was around 8, and she was so excited because that day she was going to go with Dad to work. It was Bring Your Kid to Work Day. She was so happy, so excited that day. She woke up before everybody else. She got her best clothes, and it was at the door even before everybody else had breakfast. She had to be there. She finally went with Dad to work. Once I got to the office, everybody came to introduce themselves to the little girl. They were very happy to see a kid, right? And all the excitement, all the enthusiasm, gone. She looked sad. She started to be cranky, and nobody understood what was going on. So more and more people from the office came to talk to the girl. And then finally the dad said, "What's going on? You look so sad." And she said, "I am sad, Daddy. What are all the clowns that you said every day you work with?" So I want to talk to you today about tell them. Tell them. Tell them what? You'll see in a minute. You'll see in a minute. You know, one of the things that I hear all the time here in the synagogue, it happened yesterday, people would come and say, "Rabbi, do you have a siddur?" "Sure, let me help you find one." Another one, "Do you have an extra talis?" "Sure." "What is the bathroom?" "That way." And you know, sometimes on the chat, people say, "Hey, the sound is off. Hey, there is an echo there. Hey, we can't hear the singer," and so forth. We have this valuable feedback from there. People tell us things that we can tweak, or people give us information so we can help them. And that's why communication is such a great thing, because help us to understand each other, and in a way that we don't have to go around guessing what other people want or what other people receive from what we do. But this is, I know, it's funny, and it's silly, but it's a simple principle that can help us a lot. Sometimes when we have certain expectations of somebody, we tell them. We don't have to let the other people guess what we want. And then we are upset because they don't do it. But how would I do it if I didn't know what to do? "Oh, you should have known." How many times you heard that? You should have known. When in reality, nobody ever told you anything. And now they're upset because they didn't tell you. Well, I believe that it's very important. If you have something to communicate, say it, tell them, let them know. And that's exactly what is happening in this week's parsha. There was a long list, I was mentioning this before in the service, was a long list of expectations for the priests, for the Kohanim. And what is the beginning of the parsha? "Emor el Kohanim bnei Aaron ve'amarta alehem." God said to Moses, "Go speak to the priests, the children of Aaron, and tell them the expectations." And it's a great thing, because now they don't have to guess what God wants, what Moses wants. Now they will finally know the expectations, so they can do a good job. They can play to their strengths, and they can divide the workload among them to fulfill everything that has to be done at the temple. And it's very interesting. It's very interesting to have that. Okay? And the other thing that sometimes I've noticed that we fail to do out of lack of communication is to help each other to become better. What I'm saying with this? And this is very common, and I notice all the time that there are people that they go around unaware of their talents, unaware of their gifts, unaware of how great they are, unaware of everything they can accomplish, unaware of everything they can achieve. They don't really know. They are not aware. You know why? Because nobody ever told them. Sometimes we have loving parents, loving relatives, and they encourage us from little age. They tell us all the time, "Hey, you're great at this. Why don't you take lessons? Let me take you to that coach. And so forth. And then we eventually become better because somebody told us how great we are in certain aspects, in certain areas of our life. But there are some people that they never had such blessing. They never had somebody who told them that they are great at certain things. And this is very important. When you know somebody who has a gift, who has a talent, who shines in some aspect of their lives, it's very important for all of us to let them know. There is no such a thing of a redundancy. If they already knew, it's better. But otherwise, I believe it's our responsibility to encourage each other and let people know of all their strengths or their gifts or all their talents. I heard about a very powerful and inspirational story. This is about a boy. He was around 10 years old, and he was involved in a very bad car accident, to the point that he was rushed to the hospital and he lost his left arm. You can imagine that his life changed overnight. He became depressed. He didn't have any motivation in life. So his parents decided that it would be a good idea to take this boy to a local dojo, to the gym, to study the Japanese martial art of judo. So they took him there. And the kid was excited to do something different. He gave it a try. And he had a great coach there. Great sensei, would say the Japanese people. And the interesting thing is that this sensei was teaching this boy, without the left arm, only one technique. He started with one technique. And he asked this kid to repeat that one technique, class after class after class. At one point, the kid said, can I learn something new? So nope, you have to keep practicing the thing. Well, he kept practicing that one technique, and eventually the tournament came, and the sensei said to the boy, I think you're ready. You should participate in the next tournament. The kid said, how can I do that? I only know one technique. Don't worry, you've been working hard. You should do it. It will be a good experience for you. Well, the kid entered into the tournament. He went through the first round, second round. He made it to the quarterfinal. He made it to the semifinal. And now he made it to the finals, and he had to face the actual champion for the town. And he won. This kid was so impressed with himself. He was so happy. So after the fight, he asked his sensei, how is it possible that I was able to beat all these great fighters with just one technique? And the sensei said, that's easy. Number one, because you worked hard, probably harder than many of them. And number two, because the only defense for that one technique is to grab you by your left arm, and you don't have one. And that day, that kid realized that what he thought was his biggest impediment was actually his secret weapon. And his life changed because he understood a very powerful message. But that's something that he was able to do because somebody told him that he could achieve things even with that impediment. So he was able to overcome his limitations. Sometimes we think our limitations can stop us from achieving things in life. And we get depressed because what we perceive is a limitation. What we perceive is an impediment. This week's Parsha also it says, I don't know if you read that, because it was in this week's reading, the part that we read, that it said, it's talking about the priests, the Kohanim limitation. There is an expression that the Torah uses, asher bo mum. Mum is the limitation, is the, what's the word? The blemish or impediment. Okay, asher bo mum, the one that has the blemish. And if you read the list, they are very serious things. But then it says if they have the blemish, they have the impediment, they cannot serve in the temple. But it's something very interesting. Rashi, the commentator, he said that when he translates that line, asher bo mum, Rashi doesn't say it if the priest has the impediment. Rashi translates for as long as the priest has the impediment. If you read the list of impediments, they seem to be a very permanent thing. So how is it possible for a priest with all those impediments that eventually they won't have it anymore? Because Rashi explained, those are things that could be overcome. Those are things that they are the way they perceive the limitation. If they feel that they are limited and they cannot serve, then they can't. But if they do whatever they can to overcome that limitation, and they are able to perform their duties at the temple, then they are kosher again, and they can go back. So it's very important for all of us to learn from the language of this parsha. When the Torah says, speak to them, tell them, something that we should listen, because we have the power to encourage each other. We have the power to make each other better. But in order to do that, we have to be able to let people know their gifts, their talents, and everything that excel at. And if we do that to each other, what a different world this could be. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.